Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of The Nest, where we discuss everything babies. I am your host, Gladwell Kameni. On today's episode, we are discussing choosing a nanny for your baby. Nannies are extremely important people in our society, people that we need and celebrate and kind of embrace into our families. However, we find ourselves with stories, both happy and horror, on choosing nannies. For new moms especially with zero experience, there remains numerous questions on how to go about this. Today we have good news. We have amazing moms who will be sharing with us their journeys on their nannies and how they are able to choose them. Later on, we'll have the expert joining us, and towards the end, we'll be answering all questions coming from you. So anything that you may want to ask regarding babies, please send in your questions on our Facebook page and on the number appearing on your screen. At this point, I'd like to welcome our beautiful moms. You're welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you for having us. My name is Sarah Kietilana. I am a mother of one and married to one man.
Very important, one man. Okay, welcome.
Okay, thank you for having us. My name is Lilian Itenya. I'm a mother of one boy, 2-year-old, and a very amazing boy. Thank you.
Okay, I think you will be sending us photos of your babies as well. Viewers would want to see these beautiful children. So I'll just start with the first question. I don't have to start with you, Sarah. Tell us, what is the length of your longest serving nanny?
On principle, I don't keep nannies for more than 2 years, and probably we can discuss later on why. So the longest I have had a nanny is 1 year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, on principle, I really look forward to hearing the why. What about you, Lilian?
On my part, the longest nanny I've had is 10 months. And like Sarah, I'd like to keep a nanny more than 1 year or more than 2 years.
Okay.
But circumstances make me not had one for 9 months. And not those 9 months, the first 5.5 months were good, but then towards the next 6, 7, 8, 9 months, 10 months, my nanny changed.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't want you to go to the details of the nanny changing, but out of curiosity, tell me about your shortest serving nanny. How long did she serve?
1 day.
Oh, congratulations, 1 day. I think I'm really curious to hear your stories. Viewer, please don't go away. We'll be right back to hear these amazing stories. Welcome back to The Nest. Today we're discussing choosing a nanny for your baby. We already have with us amazing moms who will be sharing with us their stories on how they had nannies and still have nannies and how they're managing that. I know you will learn a lot from this, so please join us. I'll just start with you, Lilian. You said something very funny, that one came for 1 day, a nanny came and left. Tell us about that.
I got on a Sunday. She came on Sunday. She reported on Sunday, and on Monday she worked on well. I showed her. It was in an evening. Actually, I got it from my friend, so I was sure this one is going to work. I did the interview, and she said we are good to go. She came on Sunday evening. Showed her the basics. It was on Monday morning. She did her work on Monday. She did not tell me anything during the day, but when I came back home, she told me that she'd like to leave and do some errands, personal errands, and leave the baby at home.
Okay.
So that part, I thought I'm supposed to go to work. I'm not self-employed, I'm employed. I asked her, who are you going to leave my baby with? And she said, I'll just leave him in the house. So that was a tell sign that is not somebody who's very careful. That is not somebody who is sober and minding the child's welfare.
Yes, of course.
So what I did, I just told her, you know what, I don't think it is okay. And I called the person that had had recommended her. Told her she'd like to leave. we tried to talk to her in a sober manner, but she did not want to understand. She had a pressing issue that she had attended to. But in the morning, I told her, it's okay, you can go. At night, just so that you know when you're living with somebody, and I'm a single mom. So you can imagine I wouldn't want anything to happen at night. You never know.
Yeah.
So I told her, it's okay. And we discussed on the phone with the lady who recommended me. Apparently, she was on off. The lady was off that day. So we discussed on text message that, hey, you'll come and take care of my child. The lady should
This is
go.
the friend who recommended
Yes.
your baby.
Yes.
She offered to come and take care of your baby.
Yes.
That's
She
a
offered
good
to
friend.
come. Yes, she offered
That's
to
a
come
very
and take
good
care of my child.
Yeah.
So in the morning when she said, that person who wakes up and make sure I prepare everything for the baby for the day. It was normal. Waking up and she went to shower. Said, I'm taking my things. And then I told her, but you had told me at 10 o'clock is when you're leaving. So why are you leaving at 7? Early. Said, I need to go early, then I come back. So, but meanwhile, I'm on phone with my friend. She told me, I'm nearby, I'm almost near your house, so don't worry. Just told her, you know what, just take everything, go. Because you can't leave my child in the house alone. Apart from that, she's a mom of 3 children older than my child. So that was the end of her.
Okay, I kind of want to give her some credit because she was honest. I think majority of these ladies actually wait for you to leave and then they leave and you get to know about this so much later
on.
Yeah. So let's rope you in, Sarah. How has your journey been?
I think I've been very lucky when it comes to nannies because in a span of 2 years I've had 2 nannies. And why my first nanny left is because she got a better job. I had gotten her from a shop. She was working in a shop. So she eventually got a job at a shop. And I told her, I can't pay you that much. She was honest enough to tell me how much she was going to be paid. And I told her, I like you, but I can't pay you that much. And she was very kind to me because I was out of town. She came back no more from December holiday. And then she realized, because I had visitors and I was traveling, so she let me go. And she was left at home, did her usual nanny duties. But in the meantime, she was looking for a replacement without telling me. And I took that very kindly.
Wow.
Because she was looking for someone whom she could train. And then by the time I come back, she didn't even want to tell me on the phone.
Wow.
By the time I come back, she has someone already in mind. If I approve of that person, then she was willing to stay and train her.
Wow.
And so I traveled, I came back. That time my son was about 1 year. And she told me, I got a job and I would like to go. But I have made phone calls everywhere. I have found someone who I think will take care of this baby. I give a lot of credit to this, my first nanny, because she was with me from day one. She was with me when I was weaning my baby, and you know how babies can be when you're transitioning them from one phase to another. This is when the baby pukes all they can, but this nanny was there. As in, I could see a lot of dedication in how she took care of my son. And so when it was time for her to go, she introduced this other person to me. And then she began getting a lot of pressure from the new employer. So I told her, okay, what you do, go, I'll talk to this person. If I like them, I'll take them. But then for me, I like to work with referrals, because even her, she was referred to me by someone I know very well. And actually I only work with this one person when I need to change nannies. So this person, for some reason, I didn't feel very comfortable with them. The person she had gotten for me.
Yes.
And my nanny already left, but thankfully I was on leave. So I didn't have a lot of pressure to just get anyone.
Yes.
So I went back to my usual contact. I told her that your friend has gone and I need a replacement. And so they began to look. Within a few days, they called me. They told me they have someone who had gone to deliver. Their baby is already 2 years, and they're now looking for a job. And they told me this. It's sort of a network of nannies. So it's someone in their circles, so they know her very well. And that's how I got my second nanny.
This person you're talking about as the person who gave you the recommendations, is it a friend? It's
actually my sister's former nanny who has worked for my sister for about almost 10 years, and then eventually got married. And so she's like my go-to person when it comes to nannies. And she never disappoints.
I think that's what everyone is looking for. That person they can always count on. It's very hard to know where to get these good nannies. I think you're very blessed.
So all my transitions, I have gone through this one person.
Wow.
Yeah, because right now I'm in between a transition.
And
really? She's the same person who has helped me. Talking about my first nanny, I can't say she was perfect, but she did a fantastic job with my son. I don't know whether this is the right time to say, but I don't believe in nanny cams.
That's a good one.
I don't believe in nanny cams.
All right.
So but a lot of things happened with my baby. First, my baby fell. But this girl was very terrified to tell me. This is my first nanny.
The first one, the good one.
Yes.
Okay.
She was very scared to tell me. But as a mother, you know when your child is not okay. So I got home, and the time my son should be awake was he wasn't awake. And I stayed in the house for like about two hours, and he was still sleeping. And I went picked him up, and he was very sleepy, and I found it very strange. I found it very strange. And I went back to this girl and asked her, "Are you sure the baby is okay?" And she said, "Yes," but I could see fear on her face. And I just went to my room and I prayed. I told God, forgive her. If there is anything that has happened to my son and she's too scared to tell me, forgive her, but save my baby. If there is anything I need to know and I don't know, protect my baby. I went to the supermarket. I came back. My son was still sleeping, so I decided not to wake him up.
So he's been sleeping for how long?
That's about 2 hours.
Okay.
And usually by 4 when I get home, I find him awake and probably feeding. But this time he was asleep. So that was already enough signs for me to know that my baby is not okay. And so when my husband came home, I told him, I don't think the baby is okay, but I can't put
my finger
on anything. But I know he's not fine. So anyway, the baby woke up. My son is very playful. So we played with him, he fed well, and he went to sleep. But when I woke up in the morning, I knew for sure something had happened to my son. And he had this mark on his forehead that looks like when you've been hit by a blunt object, the skin turns black. And then I just removed his clothes, everything. And I examined him from toe to the head. And I didn't need to look further. So I saw a bit of blood in his ear, in his left ear. And then that time it was not about what happened to the baby. I just called her and told her, I need you to be very truthful with me. Where did the baby fall from? Because I knew if I take him to the hospital, that's something I need to tell the doctor. He fell from what height? And that's very important for a doctor to know, so that they know what kind of treatment to give him. And then she was just shaking and she told me, there used to be a table in my dining that had a metallic base. So she tells me he fell from the sofa to the floor and hit the base of the table. And then, so I panicked, like any mother would. I really panicked, and immediately we got ready. We took him to Aga Khan Capital Center. And then when they saw the blood in the ear, they said, we cannot attend to him. Take him to the main hospital.
Wow.
So that was enough panic. And so we got to Aga Khan, and lucky enough, the doctor who saw my baby realized that he had a scratch just inside the ear.
All right.
And it looks like he peeled it. and that's where the blood was coming from.
Okay.
And so it had got nothing to do with the fall.
Oh dear.
And then he was too young to do a CT scan, but they just told me, go back home and check out for these things. The doctor just wrote for me what to check out. If he presents any of this, come back. Lucky enough, we went back home and nothing happened. When I got home, I found the nanny had showered and packed her stuff. I found her actually at the door.
Panic mode.
Yeah. So I asked her, where are you going? And she was so scared to even say a word. I told her, take your things back to the room and come here. So she came back, and I told her, would it have been easier for policemen to come here for you to explain to them what you did to the child if he died overnight? Because you denied me the opportunity to attend to my son when I had the time and everything that I needed to attend to my son. And I told her, of course, building trust after that took a while, but I chose to trust her. And I told her, the next time anything that happens to this child, because he's mine, even if one of his toenails comes out,
you tell
keep
me.
it for me. I would just want to come and see it. And I'm telling you, from that time we had such a good relationship with this girl. She would tell me things I just didn't even care about or didn't want to know, and we ended on a very high note, because I chose to trust her.
Okay.
And I chose to forgive her. I told her this baby would have fallen even with me or with the dad.
Of course.
These things happen.
Of course.
So your first thing to do is to let me know. Naturally, I don't like to make phone calls at home. Even from the day I went back from maternity, day one, I did not call home. How is the baby? Is he feeding? I don't call home as a matter of principle, because when I'm at work, I stay far. I work in Westlands, and I stay in Embakasi. If she calls me and tells me the baby is crying, what can I do between Westlands and Embakasi? Nothing. So I like to stay out of anxiety by not calling home. And I tell her, call me if there is anything that is very urgent. But if it's stuff like there's no milk, there's a phone in the house, she can text me. Come with this, come with this. And so for me not to call, I also give them the room to be what they are supposed to be. And when I get a nanny, we have rules. Rules that we go by in my house, because I host a lot. But I
visitors, you
yes.
And I want to cut you there, because before you even speak, because yours is really the perfect picture that every person would want to borrow from. I'm really curious to know at this point, Lillian, rules and regulations. She brought it up. At what point do you set the rules and the standards? This is how I want things done. This is how my baby's diaper is changed. At what point do you bring the setting of rules and standards?
I set rules on day one, and sometimes we can say as moms, we are those perfectionists, if I may say, but for them, but you also give them opportunity. For me, the rules are set on day one. This is how I do my things. And if you come on a weekday, it will be an ongoing process. Then over the weekend, I'll have to do an orientation. From this side to from top to bottom, end to start, in different places. So rules day one, so that if you want to follow them, you can follow them. If you're not comfortable with them, you say you're not comfortable.
Of course.
And you just realize that at times people don't get it. They want to do things their own way, or pretend. They pretend, yes, I'll do, but they'll not do that way. So you keep on repeating. Then I also have this policy. I have to set like the timetables for the baby. I put it where you can see, so that in case you forget, you have to, in case you forget, just refer to that paper that I've put there.
And what are your pre-preps before they come? there's probably a list of things that you want to make sure this person has even before, because this is a baby who cannot speak for themselves. What are those things that you help narrow down as you choose your nanny?
Okay, at first, before I get a nanny, number one, I don't have to be desperate, because if I'm desperate, I'll just end up somewhere.
I know.
Or I'll feel like I'm helpless. So rule number one, don't be too desperate. Lillian, don't be desperate. I tell myself, don't be desperate. If it's number two, also I do my prayer. If this one is mine, she will stay. If she is not mine, and if she's not good, she'll not stay. And trust your gut feeling. That is me. Number two, that I need somebody who's at least gotten some education. She'll be able to get instructions. Even if somebody went to class 6, even if somebody reached class 7, even if somebody form 1, by the way, have employed all kind. I've had a form 4.
You're not alone.
I've had a form 4 leaver, had one who at least went to college. I've had a class 6 dropout, class 7, class 8. So I've had all those types.
Some of them even lie. Some of them lie.
Some lie.
Then you realize they can't even write their name.
They can't write their name.
And
apparently I usually get those ones who are just addicted to their phones.
No, all of them are.
So that shows me that you are somebody who can really understand something. If you can write a text message, it means you can get something. And number one, if you're that nanny who grasps things, you're able to inform me what my baby is doing. In case of something, you inform me. And like Sarah, the first time I have a nanny, the first week I usually call to see, because some of them forget that you've told them this is what they're supposed to do, and it's true, you find them forgotten. So just in case, because my baby is used to this timetable, because I had one, he's used to sleeping at 2 o'clock, but she told me the whole week my child has not slept at 2, and this is somebody who does that. But when somebody comes to, I have a backup, just to stay with them and watch out, you find that my child that day slept at 2 o'clock or at 10 p.m. At 10 a.m. I mean, because he sleeps twice. So between 10 a.m. and then again 2 after lunch. So you see, that is a disparity. So you have to inform me that this happened. So my rules, day one, and then ongoing process. If you forget, make sure you ask me. Make sure you just ask me a question. I'm not allergic to questions. That was I usually tell them. Even as many times.
I'll come back to you, Sarah. I'm just trying to cover as much as we can, because we're limited in terms of time, just to give a sneak preview on key areas where nannies are concerned. And sorry about the phones, when you say they love their phones, I have to say that these people are living with us, we're their bosses. Imagine if you have to live with your boss. Your only social, your only buddy is the guys on the phone. I wouldn't want to live with my boss. I mean, in the same house, like you're in my space until 9 p.m. We are together, hanging out, So I give them credit, because they're amazing people, and they're human too. So we have to let that be. But the question I wanted to bring to you, Sarah, because you seem to have this together. Tell me about health. You need to know someone's historical health, and you also need to make sure that they're healthy, because your baby may also catch something. How do you deal with communicating that without making the nanny feel you're getting into my personal space?
Okay, for me, like in terms of orienting the nanny, I take leave. I would be scared to get a nanny today and tomorrow I go to work. So I take leave. And this leave helps me to really learn the nanny and orient her without any rush. And so when it comes to matters health, first I tell them, if you, because I take insurance for my nannies, all of them. I take NHIF for them. And I tell them, if you ever feel unwell, and I don't keep the card. So I'm paying for this, but keep it. If you need to see a doctor, please go see a doctor. Sometimes a nanny will catch a cold and they're the ones taking care of my baby.
Yes.
I work around that so that I allow her time to rest. But when it comes to matters health for the nanny, and health is just not them being sick or not sick. It's a matter of hygiene, how they carry themselves around the baby.
Yes.
And my baby, for example, is very sensitive because it's been lactose intolerant, and the kind of things we've been introducing to him, we have to be very careful what it is that we're introducing to him. So in my orientation and my conversation with the nanny, I make sure that their health is in check.
So
and
what
this
do you
is
do?
by asking them.
Okay.
Yeah? We just have a conversation. Is there something I need to know that in terms of your health without making them feel like I am infringing on their privacy?
Yes.
Is there something that I need to know? Yeah? That would make me feel unsafe with you handling my baby.
Okay.
Yeah. So I bring that conversation in a very conducive environment, so that it's a matter of tell me, because I got insurance for you, and if it's something that needs to be checked, I can work at home and you go have it checked.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
So this is day one.
This is day one, and it's an ongoing conversation because, as I said, I take leave. So if I'm at home for 2 weeks, it's easy for me to notice. Is this someone taking medicine, for example? Yeah. Is this someone having a bad cough that has gone on for long? Yeah. So these are things I'm able to pick and address them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, of course, orientation in terms of handling the baby. For example, I give my nannies a contract, a very simple contract, and in this contract I outline what it is that they came to do. For example, because I tell my nannies, my baby is your boss, I'm not your boss.
True.
Is this baby, because if this baby was not here, probably I would not need you.
Of course.
Yeah. So if I don't have to come and find the house sparkling clean at the expense of my child. So, and I've been very lucky because, like, the nanny that just left, she was very keen to notice any change with my baby. If he has a fever, she'll just text me. The baby, I've bathed him, but he has a fever. You get it?
Yeah.
And how did I get there? I got there by how I expose them to know if the child is presenting this way, you tell me, or you do this. And it's not something I will do in a week or in a day. It's something we do continuously with them.
Okay, so you work on a trust basis and explain to them, trying to find out what their issues are on the go, and not taking them to the clinic. That is your stand.
I don't take them to the clinic.
All right.
I don't.
All right. And then now also training them about handling your baby matters health while you're away.
Exactly. Washing their hands every time they are handling baby food. Washing the baby's hands every time he uses the bathroom. Because you won't wash the baby and not wash yours.
Okay.
Okay.
I think our time is biggest disadvantage at this point, and I think one of the things I want us to ask the doula is regarding the nanny cam, because for me yesterday, one of my neighbors, the nanny was breastfeeding the child, and that was only seen on the nanny cam. So it's a very sensitive topic on how to handle that. So for the viewers at home, please keep your questions and comments coming through on our Facebook page. We'll be joined by the expert shortly to continue this discussion. See you shortly. You're welcome back. Today on The Nest, we're discussing choosing a nanny for your baby. We've had amazing moms sharing their stories. And before we even drop in the expert, I would like to inform you of one of the things we're bringing up. We want to wish your babies happy birthdays. We also are looking for you to send us exciting, funny videos of your babies and photos, and we'll be appreciating you on a monthly basis. So keep those coming as you send in your comments and questions. At this point, I'd like to welcome you, our doula. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Esther Kimani. I am a doula and childcare expert, and happy to be here.
You're welcome.
Yes.
We are discussing the nanny cams.
Yes.
And we feel that it cannot be concluded on is it right to have one or is it better to just trust God? What is your take on the nanny cam?
I think bottom line, it gets back to personal preferences. There are people who feel more as a mother or as a dad. How comfortable are you? How will you be at work worrying constantly about what's going on?
Yeah.
If you have a nanny cam, you might be more settled because you know how your baby is doing. So it's personal preferences. There's somebody who, like her, I feel comfortable because, by the way, the greatest nanny cam is the mother, especially the mom, your gut feeling about something.
Yes.
And a lot of issues, when we've had dramatic stories or horror stories from mothers, they always go back to say, I felt like something was wrong, but I ignored that feeling.
Yes.
So there's somebody who will say, I'll go by trust. So it's personal preferences, both ways. Some people will say, I have a nanny cam, but I will inform the nanny that there's a nanny cam.
Yes.
Or I will not inform. Boils down, you're the employer. It just boils down to what you prefer.
And by the way, that makes me very curious legally. I think we should all probably check up even legally if people actually need to be aware, people who work for us need to be aware that there are cameras in the house.
Again, that boils down to, it's such a gray area because even right now there's some courts of law that will not accept nanny cams because
really?
by law it's really a gray area. Evidence from that, and you actually need evidence from someone else who saw,
really?
physical evidence. So there's a lot of gray area going on. And yeah, it's that. Is it really legal? Is it not? No one really knows. So I guess as times goes and times change, even the legal part of it will have to catch up.
Okay. So then now I'll go to help a mom who's starting out now, or even looking for a new nanny. Like for example, Sarah is in a transition mode. What would you advise a mother with a baby? Because I remember for me, when I started looking for a nanny, I didn't even know what am I supposed to be looking out for. What are the checklists that a new mom, a mother who has a small baby needs to check out for when looking for a nanny?
Okay, so number one, it's always great to start from a point of references. Have it's just getting someone that you have no reference point might not be a good idea. So I always encourage mom, if you can, have reference points where even your employer, when you're looking for any job, your employer will say, put a list of references. They want to talk to someone who knows you. So that's one of them. The second thing is that come up, even before you look for the nanny, come up with a list. What are my expectations about it? What do I want this nanny to do? Do I want her to be doing all the housework? Do I want her to just look for after the baby? Do I want her to do both? Let it be very, very, very clear. And then even you as a human being, look, if I have a 5-bedroomed house and have 4 children and I expect that nanny to do both, does it really make sense? So look at it and say, for my child to get the best possible care, will this person be able to do all this work and still be an effective nanny to the baby? Then look at your own values. You want to get a nanny spends almost more time with the baby than you do.
It's true.
So what are your values? Is this person gonna match the values that you have? And that usually will start by having a conversation with them even before you employ them. That's why you do an interview. What are their values? If you're a Muslim or you're a Christian and you're employing a Muslim, will she pass on Muslim? Is that those values that you or a whatever different religions, will that work for your value system? Will this person interact with the baby? We have babies who need constant interaction, play. Will this nanny be able to achieve that? So you need to look at all that as you're interviewing the person. So I like the way she said, don't be desperate, because if you're desperate, you'll just pick anyone. So that you're able to in fact, I usually recommend that you not only do, I have people saying I did the interview on the phone. I'm not sure you can pick much over the phone. So have 1 or 2, even 3. This person is taking care of the most precious person in your life, and this person cannot talk, cannot speak for themselves. So you need to have 1 interview, let them go, come again. Usually, but if you're doing 2 interviews, by the second one you will have a clearer view of what is going on. The third thing is, remuneration. Are you going to afford to remunerate this person?
Yes.
How to a place that they're comfortable, because sometimes if you press them too much, they might accept the job, but they might not enjoy it because they're like, I'm not even being paid. So remuneration. Sometimes we as employers, I know most of us say, I can't afford, but can you afford to have lunch for 500 instead of 800, and that 300 put it and pay your employee to a certain extent, something that, because you can't in Nairobi today, if you pay someone 2,000 shillings, depending on the work that they're doing, sometimes that might not be very practical even for that person. So they might not do a good job because they're just not being remunerated. So all these are factors that you look at,
and such people are likely to go, and transition as well is costly. She has to take leave. People have to, you know, constantly call home.
Yes. The other thing I would like to say is that think of your family structure. Sometimes, I know people sometimes say, I want the nanny to stay with me full time. But think of, am I expecting this person, you come from work and you sit down and watch TV. She's been with the baby the entire day. But you still expect her when you are home, where you're supposed to at least take over over your children, she's still having to work and sleeping very late, and expect her to be the first person to wake up to prepare breakfast. So you need to look at all these things, write them down. What are the expectations, so that when you're orientating them, you have all these things written down.
Okay, tell me about relationships. Like you actually said it about integrating them into the family. How do you manage? My question would probably be, how much is too much delegation? Because sometimes people do not even take the chumvi kisha uniambia, as in you don't even do stock take. How much is there? Too much delegation?
Yes, there is. I say, okay, this relationship is usually very interesting. You see, like if you're in an office setting, it's a bit structured. There are things, is somebody who does the shopping, but for you, this is your home. So the home does not belong to the nanny. It is your home. And I always say, let the nanny come as a helper, somebody who's just coming to help when things are not going on. But the shopping, sometimes even the cooking, sometimes the taking care of the child. For me, I do not believe that I can be home and I'm not taking care. So she's supposed to help when I'm not there. When I'm home, this child is mine, so that I can take over. I can. If she had not been spending time with her baby, she might not even have realized there's something wrong with the baby. I work in hospitals a lot, and we find abuse that has been going on for months, with marks on the body, physical marks, but the mother never noticed. Meaning that mother has never changed the baby's clothes for a very long period of time. So it is your job. So delegate for the things that you're not there, but running the home, it's your job. Taking care of the baby, physically, for me, I'm almost extreme. My nanny would not wash the baby until they were around 2-3 years, when they could talk, you know. So same. So I come home, we are doing our shower time. It is your job. So let the nanny just come to help. You just be the main person. It's your home. Run your home.
Okay. And what about the fact that we assume that because of how we've grown up, these people, there are things that are a bit obvious in regards to setting standards. We're actually discussing about setting standards and when you actually set standards. And one of the things I learned independently now that I became a mother and had to get a nanny is that you cannot assume anything. Even when you put dawa, you tell them put 5 ml. When I'm away, you have to tell them, show me where is 5 ml. You know, and those are things that new moms are probably.
I have a friend whose brother died because the nanny gave a cleaning fluid instead of medicine. They looked the same. She was not educated, so these bottles look the same. You know, so sometimes you must be very, very clear on what you want. Have orientation. As I think it was you saying, you have orientation. So that you tell them. One of my sisters got a nanny, and she said, "Can I use the toilet?" And she went and stayed for very long, very, very long. Then she came back and asked, where do I actually go? So she had never seen, you know, a toilet. She knew a pit. Exactly. So don't assume. Go every part of the house. You know, this is the kitchen. Do you know how to use this? This is how you use this. Like, the way if you go to a new place of employment, you have almost a whole week of orientation. Do the same. Sometimes I'm usually like, take leave if you can. Take 2, 3, 4 days. Stay with this nanny so she learns. If this is how, when my nanny first came, I've been with her for a long time. When she first came, the way she cooked was very different from how I cooked.
Yes.
So I can say, this one, you cook, just make noise. But that's how she knows how to cook.
Yeah.
So this is how I like my chapatis made. Make them together. Then she sees them. This is how I want the baby changed. Show her practically.
Yes.
So orientation is very important.
Yes.
And then there's no one who's perfect. So show them how you want your work done, and also give her time to learn. Somebody won't learn in a day. So you need several weeks possibly for that person to catch up. So sometimes we fire nannies very quickly, and maybe they were a very good fit for your baby, but maybe she just didn't know how to make chapatis, you know. But with the baby, she was fantastic. Yeah. So you need to gauge also what are your important things. Is it the baby or the things that are done in the house?
Tell me from a medical perspective. I'm quickly moving to health because I'm limited again on time. At what point, how do you deal with health? You don't want to bring someone who may have an airborne disease or maybe HIV positive and begins to breastfeed your child if you're not having the nanny comes. I mean, all these things. What would you recommend as a professional on these people who we know little about?
Okay, in Kenya, any job, even an office job, we do medical checkups. We do. I mean, you'll be given a medical check. Sometimes it's not. She's under no obligation to give you the details of her status, for example. She's not obligated to share with you.
Okay.
But for me, I always say let them do a medical test, even for her own use. Sometimes they don't even know themselves that they are HIV positive.
True.
So she will, and then you tell her, go and do the medical test, and if there's something in it that you think, I like her approach, that you think that will affect this baby, you need to tell me as you're taking care of my child. I have paid for it. I have paid for you NHIF, for example, so that you're able to go to hospital. But I need you to and it's part of the deal. I need you to tell me if it's something that's going to affect my baby. If you don't and I find out, instant dismissal, because it's actually against the law to obligate someone to do a test. It is against the law. They can sue you. But it is okay to have them do a medical test so that they know their status, so that they live well.
And I think that's why, because you can't force them. If you're, if you have that feeling that you need to have it done, then you bring it on the table on day one. Are you comfortable with?
And for me, I also usually like and that's why you want references. Plus there's reference, because does this person have a small child? The reason they are breastfeeding your child is because they want to keep their milk supply going for their baby. So when you're doing these references, does this person have like a 3-4 month year old?
But you're not okay.
You see, that's what you want to find out. So there's a risk. Now that's a risk that this person might want to breastfeed. But if their children are 5 years old, they're not gonna be breastfeeding your baby. But there's also that feeling, that there's always a gut feeling. Children also will let you know when things are not okay. Children as young as a day can tell you when things are not okay.
That was going to be my next question. How do you tell your baby is happy?
Is happy.
And at this point, I would want the moms, I know you have 1,000 questions. I would want the moms to probably ask a question before we close. And maybe you can just tell us about how do you know your baby is unhappy?
So babies, if you come home, I'll quickly just go through them. If you come home and your baby seems very clingy on you,
or
very, very clingy, unusually clingy, they will most likely cry. And cry like, you left me here, why? And they, because now they're comfortable with you, it's like they're complaining. If your child is not thriving, for example, your baby is not adding weight, meaning that child is not being nourished, and you'll be told he ate very well, but when you go, he drank the milk very well. When you actually go, the baby is not thriving. So that tells you things might not be the way they should be. If your neighbors, I am like, be the nosy neighbor, go and ask your neighbor. There's always a mom hanging around,
a soldier.
Even soldier. Is there peace in my house? Sometimes they're like, hey, me, I didn't want to tell you, your baby cries the whole day. That tells you Yeah, so sometimes when just be proactive in finding out. And then if your baby is constantly getting sick, so it means that hygiene might not be up to date. Maybe the baby is not being kept warm enough. I had a mom whose baby always had pneumonia, and apparently the nanny was washing the baby with cold water. But for her, that's how they wash babies
at home.
But this baby was a sensitive baby, so she was not doing it out of malice. She just, for them, they don't warm. So you see, probably the mother did not orientate her. This is how I want you to wash my baby. So there are many things that you can find out, and that's why I'm like, your baby talks. Or sometimes your baby can be very, very happy, because sometimes the nanny start very well, so the baby is very happy. Then somewhere in between, you start noticing the baby. If a baby is happy, trust me, when the nanny goes to pick them, they willingly go, because the babies. But then if the baby will cling on to you and they cling on to you like, I don't want to go, my life depends on it. You find, and even babies are like that with their mother, so they wouldn't want to go, but they kind of go. But then there's this one where they're clinging on to you like their life depends on it. Then that's how your baby talks to you and tells you that things are not okay.
Because I remember, for me, my experience was a diaper change, where I assumed that she actually knew about how I want my baby's diaper changed, and then I noticed my baby's behavior change, like she's uptight. It's diaper change time. I realized, this is being done differently. And then I asked her, and she was coming from a very good place. I tell her, this is what my baby is used to, and therefore we need to apply this in that way. I'm not sure if you have any questions on the top of your mind regarding this subject.
Probably I'll ask her in terms of, don't you, and this is just a leading question, don't you think that most of us mothers are not managing our expectations when it comes to what we need the nanny to do and the actions around the house?
Completely. You hit it right. We don't. We expect a super, there's this program that used to be called Super Nanny. So we expect she knows all the medical things to be done. She knows how to clean the baby. She might be a mother of 5, but the way I do my things is different. Probably if I took, even me as a trained person, if I took your baby, you'd be like, no, that's not how I want you to take care of your baby. Expectations, and as we say, give them time. See, they are human beings. Babies take around 10 to 15 days to acclimatize to a new baby. So the nanny has been there for 2 days, and you're saying the baby doesn't like but they've not spent time together. Babies have to spend time and fall in love. But I'm usually like, by 2 weeks, if the baby is not still happy, then they are not a good fit. I think you better change. So yes, you're very right. We don't manage our expectations. We expect too much. As we were saying, you expect them to. I always say, if I'm with my baby the entire day, I can't do any housework. You can't even do dishes. You can't, and then you expect she's cooked, she's cleaned, she's with a very happy baby. Sometimes it's not practical.
True.
So I'm always like, if the clothes are not washed, why don't you come and do laundry yourself? I mean, she'll tell you today the baby was very fussy, and you're like, but why didn't you do? But the baby was fussy. So what will she do? Because you're making noise, she will stop taking care of the baby. So she does the work, and yet your baby is suffering. So let's be practical. Let's be human.
On the JD.
Yes, on the JD.
Lillian, I know you had a lot of drama in your journey. I'm not sure if there is anything on top of your mind that you'd want to ask that you'd probably do differently, because I know you have one currently who's serving you long. Is there something you're curious about that you'd want to know to keep her longer?
This question of not being too good, you to balance. I would like to balance professional, like the way I'll work with my boss, and they will like to work with her. And not being too good, not being too bad, because you'll find moms saying, those moms who are the worst, the bad ones, are the ones who stay with nannies for 5 years.
But it's actually very interesting. People say that the very bad people are the ones who keep these people for long.
Like I've given my experience. I'm one who leaves the house when I've done everything. So your work is the baby. Your work is to stay with the baby. How comes? What is happening? Even if it's influence outside.
I think you still have to maintain the employer employee, familiarity. Like, do not share intimate details, for example, about, I have mothers who, because then they lose respect for you. So if you complain about your husband to the nanny, honestly, that you're already getting to that boundary where now it's a bit
smarky.
It's slippery. And then they lose. Familiarity breeds contempt. That's what the Mzungu say. When someone becomes very familiar with you, then there's contempt. When there's contempt, there's no respect, then everything goes downhill. So maintain that professionalism. Please be human. I know you cannot treat another human being, even if people say when you're bad. I think at the bottom of my heart, even God expects us to treat other human beings right. So feed them. If you're eating sausages, then don't give them cabbage. Like, food should be, if they're in your house, then whatever you're eating, they should eat as well. Whatever you if that is the part of the contract. If they are leaving the house, if they're like day bags, the ones that come every day, what time are they expected to report, and what time do they go home? What are their days off? And respect that. You don't, unless you've asked for permission. And if you take their day off, can you compensate it with another one? Maybe don't go on Sunday, but Monday you can have your day off. Because sometimes we don't respect them. Then after a while they become very resentful, and as human beings, your child is the one who ends up suffering. So please continue to be nice. I think at the end of the day, and human is the one, but still maintain the employee having mutual respect, respecting them. And I think sometimes they don't respect us because you don't. You see, like, if I come and say, please give me a glass of water, where nilete maji? She's also a human being, so she's like, why can't she just ask me nicely? Because that's how we talk with them. So have that respect to that human being, and I think you'll see it in return as well.
We are leaving them our little jewels. You better treat them like jewels as well. I think I'm feeling very refreshed and encouraged, and our time is almost out, so I'm getting into Q&A from you at home, our viewers, and I will just start. Interestingly, I think we already answered this one. This question was about how do you balance between making a nanny feel like family, but then again respect you and do her job? This question is coming from Lydia Gitao from Jamhuri, and I think you actually addressed that. Lillian was asking that it's such a big challenge because these guys are living in our space, so we'll not go into that question. The next question will be here, what documentation do we need when it comes to hiring a nanny? This one comes from one boy from Kawasukari.
Okay, so you need, of course, to make sure that they're of legal age. So you need an ID. An ID if they're not from Kenya, a passport or any form of documentation proving that they are. It is illegal to employ someone below the age of 18. So you need an ID. You can also have, for some people, they want a certificate of good conduct. So that's also okay, because if that's what your preference is, or you can have the references. They need references that you can call, 2 or 3 that you can actually call, maybe of even previous employers that you can call to find out how this person is. You need to find their next of kin details. Their parents, where they come from, maybe their siblings. Anyway, at least 3 or 4 next of kin details, where if anything happened, I mean, things can happen and you don't even know where to start.
And then I collapsed in my house, and I had just missed to ask her on that question on the next of kin. It was the biggest, I think, shocker for me, because she's collapsed, she cannot speak, and I don't know who to call despite taking her to hospital.
Exactly. So you need to find out all these details. You might also need to find, if they say they have they are from a particular educational background, ask them for their certificate. They reach standard 8, do they have that? They reach whatever it is, so that at least even you know when I'm giving instructions, what is the level that we will be able to go to. The other thing is that you might also need to agree or with the nanny about stuff like uniform. Do they prefer to wear a uniform, or there's a mode of dressing that maybe you want in your house? What is it? So you have all these things, have a file, also have a way to document salary. So you can have a salary book, or you can have pay slips that you write down.
I know people who would rather actually pay through M-Pesa.
Exactly.
Constantly.
So have a form of documenting the payments that have been done. Don't just give and then, so it's your word against theirs whether they were paid. So always have that. And have a file that goes. Please respect your nannies. Give them the required 21 days. I know it sounds very funny, but it doesn't actually add up if you give them 4 days in, 5 days in August, 5 days in April, a few more in. It will come back to the 21 days required leave. Remember, it is a condition of the law, the labor laws, that you need to respect this and respect their, and that also adds up to their days off and having all this. So have all this, the contract signed and in a file somewhere. So between them, they have their copy. And
so you actually recommend for a contract?
Yes, I do. Yes, come up with a contract.
Okay.
What do I expect from you? Okay. What does she expect from you?
And what happens if someone has someone and they've been staying with them?
You can still come up with a contract.
Okay.
And say, now I want us to do things. Just say, nowadays it's good to do things professionally. Can we just sign a contract? What we've been doing, what is expected, and maybe now it's the beginning of the year, so it might be a good time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think with that, very rich information is enough, especially about documentation. I think very many of us take it very informal when it comes to getting our nannies.
Yes.
So I'm really grateful, Esther, for your time and for all that wisdom you've been able to share with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for your time. And I think you should just set up a page where you just advise everyone else on how to treat nannies.
You're doing good.
And thank you so much, Lillian, for your time and for sharing your very common story. I think all of us are just struggling when it comes to actually having nannies for a very long time. So for viewers at home, we thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time. I am your host, Gladwell Kameni.